ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar my dear friends. In this video I am going to describe Vajrasuci Upanishad of Samaveda. It is a very important Upanishad and it describes the forecast of Hinduism. I now proceed to declare the Vajrasuci, the weapon that is the destroyer of ignorance, which condemns the ignorant and praises the man of divine vision. There are four castes: the Brahmana, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and the Sudra. Even the Simritis declare, in accordance with the words of the Vedas, that the Brahmana alone is the most important of them. Then this remains to be examined: what is meant by the Brahmana. Is it a jiva? Is it a body? Is it a class? Is it jnana? Is it karma, or is it a doer of dharma? To begin with, is Jiva the Brahmana? No, since the Jiva is the same in the many past and future bodies of all persons, and since the Jiva is the same in all of the many bodies obtained through the force of karma, therefore Jiva is not the Brahmana. Then is the body the Brahmana? No, since the body, as it is made up of five elements, is the same for all people down to chandalas, etc. Since old age and death, dharma and adharma are found to be common to them all. Since there is no absolute distinction that the Brahmanas are white colored, the Kshatriyas red, the Vaishyas yellow, and the Sudras dark, and since in burning the corpse of his father, etc., the stain of the murder of a Brahmana, etc., will accrue to the son, etc. Therefore, the body is not the Brahmana. Then is a class the Brahmana? No, since many great rishis have sprung from other castes and orders of creation. Rahasranga was born of deer. Rahasranga was born of deer. Kausika of kusha grass. Jambuka of a jackal. Valmiki of Valmika, an ant hill. Vyasa of a fisherman's daughter. Gautama of the posteriors of a hare. Vasishtha of Urvasi, and Agastha of a water pot. Thus have we heard of these many rishis outside the caste, even have stood first among the teachers of divine wisdom. Therefore, a class is not the Brahmana. Is Jnana the Brahmana? No, since there were many Kshatriyas and others well versed in the cognition of divine truth. Therefore, Jnana is not the Brahmana. Then is Karma the Brahmana? No, since the Prarabdha, Sanchita, and Agami karmas are the same for all beings, and since all people perform their actions as impelled by karma, therefore karma is not the Brahmana. Then then is a doer of dharma, virtuous actions, the Brahmana? No, Since there are many Kshatriyas, etc., who are givers of gold, therefore a doer of virtuous action is not the Brahmana. Who indeed then is a Brahmana? Whoever he may be, he who has directly realized his Atma and who is directly cognizant like the Myrobalan in his palm of his Atma, that is without a second, that is devoid of class and actions, that is free from the faults of the six stains and the six changes, that is of the nature of truth, knowledge, bliss, and eternity, that is without any change in itself, that is the substratum of all the kalpas, that exist penetrating all things, that pervades everything within and without, as akasa, that is of the nature of undivided bliss, that cannot be reasoned about, and that is known only by direct cognition. He who, by the reason of having obtained his wishes, is devoid of the faults of thirst after worldly objects and passions, who is the possessor of the qualifications beginning with Sama, who is free from emotion, malice, thirst after worldly objects, desire, delusion, etc., whose mind is untouched by pride, egoism, etc., who possesses all these qualities and means. He only is the Brahmana. Such is the opinion of the Vedas, the Smritis, the Itihasa, and the Puranas. Otherwise, one cannot obtain the sta- status of a Brahmana. One should meditate on his Atma as Satya Chit Ananda and the non-dual Brahman. Yeah, one should meditate on his Atma as the Satya Chit Ananda Brahma. Such is the Upanishad. Let us know something more about this important Upanishad. The Vajrasuci Upanishad, in Sanskrit we called it Vajrasuci Upanishad. Vajrasuci Upanishad is a medieval era Sanskrit text and a minor Upanishad of Hinduism. It is classified as one of the 22 Samanya Upanishads and identified as a Vedanta text. It is attached to the Samaveda. The text discusses the four varnas caste system. It is notable for being a sustained philosophical attack against the division of human beings and for asserting that any human being can achieve the highest spiritual state of existence. The Sanskrit word Vajrasuci means diamond pointed needle. The term Upanishad means it is a knowledge text that belongs to the corpus of Vedanta literature collection presenting the philosophical concepts of Hinduism and considered the highest purpose of its scripture. The Vedas, the Vajrasuci Upanishad survives into the modern era in several versions. Manuscripts of the text were discovered and collected during the colonial times, and by early 19th century, 8 copies of the manuscripts from North India and 5 copies from South India were known. Most versions were in Sanskrit, in Devanagari script, and 2 in Telugu language in palm leaf manuscript form, with some in damaged condition. There are differences in the text between these manuscripts, but the focus and central message is the same. The date as well as the author of Vajrasuchi Upanishad is unclear. The Upanishad is attributed to Shankaracharya in the manuscripts discovered by early 1800s. Shankaracharya, also known as Adi Shankara, was an Advaita Vedanta scholar, but given the Indian tradition of dedicating and attributing text to revered historical scholars, there is uncertainty whether texts attributed to Adi Shankara were actually composed by him or in the 8th century he likely lived in. After the discovery of palm leaf manuscripts of the Vajrasuci Upanishad manuscript, a Buddhist text attributed to 2nd century CE, Ashwaghosa, was published from Nepal in 1835 with the same title Vajrasuci, which is similar in its message as the Vajrasuci Upanishad. This added to the complications in dating and in determining the author of the text. However, the authenticity of the Buddhist text and whether its author was Ashwaghosa is considered seriously doubtful, according to many scholars, and most recently by Patrick Olivelle. Scudder states that the Vajrasuci attributed to Ashwaghosa, though seemingly an independent work, in fact is nothing but a Buddhist commentary on or elaborating of the first part of Vajrasuci Upanishad with many quotations from Shruti and Smriti. This text is also sometimes titled as Vajrasucika Upanishad, Vajrasuci Upanishad, Vajrasuci Upanishad, Vajrasucī Upaniṣad and Vajrasucī Upanishad. In the Telugu language, anthology of 108 Upanishads of the Muktika canon narrated by Rama to Hanuman, it is listed at number 36. The text is structured as a single chapter in a prose form. It opens with verse number 1 asserting that it describes the Vajrasuci doctrine which destroys ignorance, condemns those who are ignorant, and exalts those with the divine knowledge. The verse 2 of the text presents a series of questions, the possible answers and answers analyzed in verse 3 through 8. The verse 9 presents its view and then an epilogue concludes the Upanishad. Questions on the four varnas. The text asserts in verse number 2 that there are four varnas: the Brahmin, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and the Shudra. The Brahmin states the text is declared by Smriti to be chief. But what does this mean? Is this social division justified by Jiva, life, soul, Deha, body, Jati, birth, Jnana, knowledge, karma, deeds, dharmic virtues, or performer of rites? Answer: the Jiva does not make anyone a Brahmin, states the text, because with rebirth the Jiva migrates from one body to another. This Jiva remains the same individuality while the body changes. Thus it is not Jiva which can determine whether one is a Brahmin, asserts verse number 3. The Deha or body does not make anyone a Brahmana according to the text, because every human being's body is the same, constituted of the same five elements. Everyone ages, everyone dies. People from all classes show various combinations of dharma, virtue, and adharma, vice characteristics. All color complexions, similarly, asserts the text, are found is all caste and those who are outcast. The states verse number 4 of the Upanishad, it is not the body which can determine whether one is a Brahmin. Does Jati or birth makes a Brahman? It is not so, states the text, because Sacred books tell of great rishi sages born in various castes and diverse origins, such as Vyasa from a fisherman's daughter, Kausika from Kusagrass, Valmiki from an anthill, Gautama from the hare's posterior, Vasishtha from a celestial nymph, Jambuka from a jackal, and Agastha from a mud-based vessel. Regardless of their birth origins, they achieved greatness. Therefore, asserts verse 5 of the Upanishad, it is not the birth which can determine whether one is a Brahmana, Jnana or knowledge too does not make a Brahmana, asserts the text. It is not so because among Akshatriyas and others there are many who have seen the highest reality and truth, and therefore Brahmin knowledge is not what makes the Brahmana. Karma or deeds do not make a Brahmana, continues there the text, because all living beings perform the same deeds. Past and future embodiments are common, and everyone is impelled by past. Thus asserts the text in verse 7, deeds do not make the Brahmana. The text in verse 8 states that dharmic action is not the essence of the Brahmana either. Many Akshatriyas give away gold. Such virtuous actions and anyone performing religious rituals is not what makes a Brahmana. Brahmana, the Vajrasuci doctrine, who indeed then is the Brahmana, rhetorically repeats the verse 9 of the text. Whoever he may be, answers the Upanishad, he is the one who has directly realized his Atma, innermost self soul. He is the one who understands that his soul is without a second, is devoid of class, is devoid of actions, is devoid of faults. He knows that the Atma is truth, is knowledge, is bliss, and is eternity. He is the one who knows that the same soul in him is in everyone, is in all things, pervading within and without, something that can be felt but not reasoned. He is the one who is free from malice, who fulfills his nature, is not driven by cravings for worldly objects or desire or delusions. He is the one who lives a life untouched by spite, ostentation, pride, or the need to impress others. The Upanishad closes by stating that this doctrine is the opinion of the Shrutis, scriptures, the Smritis, the Itihasas, and the Puranas. There is no other way to attain the state of Brahmana, states Vajrasuci Upanishad, other than meditating on the non-dual Brahmana, ultimate reality and truth, with the Atma as the Satya Chitananda, truth consciousness. Thus ends the Upanishad. According to this Upanishad, anybody, irrespective of his caste, can obtain the status of a Brahman if he is able to realize his Atma. Any person who has reached the state of self-realization or Brahm realization, he is a Brahmana. In the modern times, as we call Brahmanas, Akshatriyas, Vaishya and Sudra, this is according to birth, but this is really not at all correct according to this Upanishad, because as per the qualities of a person, he is to be called a Brahmin, Akshatriya, Sudra or Vaishya. So this Upanishad is very, very important. Thank you for watching this wonderful video. Namaskar, my dear friends. Thank you. Namaskar.